3 News for more local stories.
We're going to celebrate volunteers a bit this morning and encourage you perhaps to become one, because it is Volunteer Week at CHI Memorial, and Jean Payne has brought one of her very favorite volunteers. Perhaps you know him, Dr. Jim O'Connell, who is heading up the auxiliary. You're the president this year. Good to see you both.
Thank you. We're glad to be here.
Yeah.
So what is it that they say? I'm not just the owner, I'm a member or something like that. So you're not just a volunteer, you're also a retired physician. You worked for many years at the hospital, Jim.
I did, yeah. This would be, when I retired, I'd been working 25 years there, so, yeah.
We were talking a bit, Jean, about the friendships that form
Yes.
when you become a volunteer. I think a lot of people think about getting into volunteer service in an effort to help other people,
Yes.
not always realizing that they're the ones who get helped along the way.
It is, well, and that's one thing I hear a lot from the volunteers. I feel like it's a beautiful circle, because so many of the volunteers, we thank them, and especially during National Volunteer Week this week, but thanking them all the time, but for their sharing of their talents and their gifts and their time. And then they're always telling me, well, I get more than I give, because I think they feel blessed that they are on this side able to help. And then, like you said, an added benefit that they may not realize is most of them have made lifelong friends with their teens.
So you were with the hospital practicing for a number of years. Then about 5 years ago, you began to volunteer.
Right.
Was there a part of you, Jim, that ever thought, you know, here I am, I've got retirement in front of me. I'm not so sure I want to commit any time to this. That seems to be a holdup that a lot of people have.
Yeah, and I had about 2 years of wanting to think about it, and then Jean kept pursuing me.
Yes.
And I just decided I needed some time away from home, and also I wanted to be able to kind of stay in contact with the hospital. And quite frankly, I just like meeting people and hearing their stories and getting them someplace where they want to be. And then also, it's a little overwhelming being in the hospital. And as you first come in, you can always tell, I said, you can tell people really don't know. They either zoom in and head straight for not knowing what, or they're looking around up in the ceiling, and I know they're lost right then and there. So it's also a way of reducing the anxiety for people to take them. It's a great system Memorial has.
Well, and I'm guessing that there are so many different ways you can volunteer. So we all have our own strengths and gifts. If yours is not to be the greeter when somebody walks in, maybe you can be a reassurer in a private room or something. Is that right?
That is right. We have a lot of different opportunities, and you know, I always like to say our hospital is like a little city, and it takes all kinds of people with different talents and backgrounds, because there are a lot of people like Jim that like to be out in front and greet people and take people. There are other people that I don't know that I want to be on that front line, but we also have positions in different areas that support offices, that does possibly data entry. I mean, you know, if anyone wants to volunteer and they have a specific area that they're interested in, we can probably match that up.
Right.
We've got folks that play the piano, we've got music therapists, pet therapists. We have folks that drive our courtesy cart shuttle, that they greet people in and get them to the front doors. You know, I mean, we're just richly blessed to have so many different folks. We've got about a team of over 300 volunteers on all of our campuses. So depending on what area you live in, we may have a campus near you.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up, because I know you're at Glenwood, but you don't have to travel to the main campus if you don't want to.
No,
I work
you don't.
at Hickson as well.
Do you?
Right.
Yes.
At both the Hicks Hospital, we also have our Parkway Imaging in Georgia, and we've got a hospital in Georgia. We've got a facility in Ooltewah, Imaging and Marion Local Breast Center. So,
and I guess what happens too, we've got about a minute left, but if you choose the convenience of going to a location closer to you, then that hospital begins to feel even more like the community, and people see familiar faces.
right. Well, and two, I feel like with our volunteers, they become a part of the family. So like you say, another benefit for the volunteer, not only are they helping all those coming through the doors, then they become familiar with the healthcare system for themselves.
That's very true.
Yes.
At the heart of it, in your 25 years of practice and now the volunteering, is it still the desire to help and heal?
Oh yes, yeah, very much. I enjoy that part of it.
And our volunteers do it
altogether.
well.
Yes. So yeah, the helping and healing, I think, is it to the patient, but also, of course, as she said, you get more often from folks coming back to you. And
Yeah,
so-
you always, anytime
Yeah.
you're extending yourself for somebody
Yes.
else's benefit, you always reap far more
Yes.
than they
Yeah.
will. You get to get in your car and go home knowing you did something good that
Right.
day.
Made a big difference.
Yeah.
Memorial.org/volunteer is how you can learn more. Also give them a call, 495-8610. This is Volunteer Week, but really every week is Volunteer Week, so
Yes.
they would love to hear from you anytime.
Yes.
Thank you
Yes.
both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Papa John's original fresh dough hand stretched to bigger extra large slices. It's New York